It's pitch black, and all around you, you can hear the pleas and the screams slowly starting to go silent. You just witnessed one of the worst sea disasters in the world, and now all you can do is wait and pray that someone, anyone, is coming to get you. Heyo, and welcome to another episode of the Darkives, where we tell serious history not so seriously. I'm Jamie talking to Leo.
And I'm Leo listening to Jamie.
And this week, we are talking about the Titanic.
Everybody knows the Titanic.
Everybody knows the Titanic, but you know what? I picked the content, and I really wanted to do a deep dive into this, so here we are.
Yeah, I really don't know much more than what the movie tells me, so...
Well, the movie's actually not too inaccurate, but we're going to do a pretty decent deep dive. Obviously, the Titanic disaster could be an entire series on its own, but I wanted to do a Darkives deep dive. And I mean, hopefully this is at least a refresher, or we all learned something new here.
All right, yeah, where are we starting?
We are starting with water transportation. The 1900s brought about an extremely lucrative transportation system, and that was transatlantic passenger transport. These are just everyday, regular people going across the Atlantic. Ship lines were looking to transport the wealthy and immigrants both for steep prices across the Atlantic. To put it into perspective, in a 100-year span from 1812 to 1912, the rate of sea travel just about quadrupled. So it was quickly growing.
It was becoming less of a let's just get people across the ocean and more of a luxury thing, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it truly was much more comfortable because going across the Atlantic used to take like a month, and around this time, it dropped to only about a week.
So boats were getting faster, or their lines were getting more efficient.
I think boats were just getting faster. You know, we're not relying on wind. We had engines. Now, the top two liners during this time were White Star and Cunard. In 1907, Cunard was ready to debut two new ships that would be known for their speed. They were the Lusitania and the Mauretania.
The Lusitania sank.
Yeah. Yeah, she did.
Is that in your story?
No, but I'm glad that you mentioned it.
That was a big ship sinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to just, I don't know, take like a month and only do maritime disasters. I am endlessly fascinated by water transportation. Now, not to be upstaged, White Star came up with a plan to rival those two new ships, though not in speed, but rather they would be known for their elegance and their comfort. The ships that White Star would unveil would be called the Olympic, the Titanic, and the Britannic. March 31st of 1909, construction on the Titanic officially began. At the shipyard of Harland and Wolff in Belfast, Ireland, both the Titanic and the Olympic were being built side by side in the largest gantry ever constructed, so that way workers could access all parts of the ships. The release of the ships would be from 1911 to 1913, so releasing one each year. At its peak, the construction of these ships employed about 14,000 men. To build just the frame of Titanic took over a year, and by October of 1910, so around a year and a half, the shell plating was done. Inside, the ship was just as large and impressive. The hull held 29 boilers, 159 furnaces, and 2 reciprocating engines, the largest ever built up to that time.
Yeah, and you said the Britannic is being built alongside this, right?
The Olympic was.
Oh, the Olympic was?
Yes.
The Olympic was just as big as the Titanic, wasn't it? Because the Britannic was a smaller version. It was like almost a 1-to-1, but in a smaller scale. I swear there's like an insurance fraud myth out there that when the Britannic went down, they claimed it had all the stuff that the Titanic had in it, but it was actually like way cheaper stuff.
Really?
I'm not 100% on it, but I remember something about that. And I thought the Olympic was just as big or bigger than the Titanic.
They were like twins. They were almost virtually the same, but technically the Titanic was quote unquote bigger just because she weighed a little bit more.
Okay. Then maybe that was the insurance claim that I heard, that the Olympic went down instead of the Titanic, but the Titanic had all the more expensive stuff. So they got an insurance claim out on the more expensive ship. There's some conspiracy theory with this. It's some insurance claim to do with that, but
it would be the Britannic because the Olympic did not sink. So it had to have been the Britannic, which the Britannic...
You mean the Titanic didn't sink? The Olympic did. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Because the Titanic was the more expensive ship. So if the Olympic went down, they called it the Titanic to get a bigger insurance payout. They were virtually identical.
What a fun little conspiracy.
I can't remember where I heard that, and I don't know if any of that's true, but it is something that I've heard. So there's that. Back to your facts, though.
Okay. The engines in the Titanic stood at nearly 40 feet tall, or 12.2 meters tall, and they were 9 feet wide, or 2.7 meters wide. They were huge.
Very big.
The boilers were also gigantic and stood 2 stories tall. Like, holy shit. When the Titanic was officially done being built, it was the largest man-made object ever built.
Yeah, impressive feat of engineering back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy something, I mean, I'm not a buoyancyologist, so I don't know, but it's crazy how something that heavy can float. It baffles me.
I know.
Something made of steel floating on the ocean.
That's why water transportation fascinates me so much, because I don't fucking get it. And it's not my job to get it, but it's crazy. It's crazy to me. All right, well, we all know the claim that she was unsinkable. But what I didn't know was the science behind that claim. Titanic was built with 15 watertight bulkheads that essentially divided the ship into 16 compartments. If 4 of these compartments flooded, the ship could still sail and would still float. The problem with this is that the bulkheads, which were just essentially watertight walls.
Yeah, so if you cut the ship into 15ths going down the length of the ship, basically there's a wall every 15th of the way through that's a watertight barrier.
Yes, exactly.
And you said if 4 of them fill up, it still floats?
Yes.
That seems like a flaw to me.
Well, the idea is that they're watertight, so, you know, they were accounting for if for whatever reason the ship got a gash in it, 4 compartments could fill, and ideally, none of the others would, so they would still be okay. The problem was that these walls didn't go all the way up. The walls only rose to about 10 feet above the water level.
Okay, therein lies the flaw right there. Because things don't just stop filling up with water if there's a hole in it, and it'll go over every barrier.
Well, spoiler alert, that is exactly what the fuck happened. If enough water filled these compartments, it would act like an ice cube tray, where you fill one up and it's going to spill into the next, spill into the next. You are spot on.
I thought only having 4 being able to be filled was an issue, because I'm like, you got 15 compartments. I designed these compartments to where, like, you know, add more compartments so that way you can section off things a little bit more tighter. You know what I mean? So add 32 compartments, and then that way if 10 of them or whatever fill up, you're good. You know, floor to ceiling, people. Floor to ceiling.
Only 10 feet above the water level.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that is a big problem for the ship in a little bit here. But the parts of the ship that the passengers would see and live in was of a splendor and a grandeur that had not been seen to that point, and I mean, honestly, hasn't, in my opinion, been replicated since. The Shipbuilder magazine wrote in the winter of 1911 that the passenger accommodation was of, quote, unrivaled extent and magnificence, and the excellent result defies improvement, end quote.
It really would have been crazy to be alive back then when they were doing all these things and luxury was at the peak of everything. You have train cars that you get the nicest of nice, sleeper cars.
Mm-hmm.
You've got people waiting on you like concierge service in these trains. They're taking that to ships. Everything was just so catered. If you had the cash in the early 1900s, you were traveling in the most lavish of styles.
Yeah. Oh, it paid to be fucking rich in the early 1900s. It also, which we are going to get into, the crafting that went into so much of the luxury that we talk about. Everything was like handmade. It was done with care. It wasn't mass produced. They weren't sleeping on IKEA beds, which absolutely no shade to IKEA, but it's not the handcrafted solid wood that they had. Do you know what I mean? Like everything back then I feel feels more luxurious because there was a lot more care and intent put into it.
And I agree. Craftsmanship.
Yes. Yeah, and we are going to talk about some of the rooms and all that, so we'll get into that. The Titanic was able to house 3,295 people, including both passenger and crew. The passengers were split into 3 classes, 689 in first, 674 in second, and 1,026 in third class.
The old Irishman singing and dancing down in the basement.
From the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. There were 10 decks on the ship, with 3 specifically reserved for crew, cargo, and the machinery. Some of the rooms that the passengers had access to were a saloon, smoking room, writing room, lounges, Turkish baths, a gym, a swimming pool, and even squash courts.
The Turkish baths kind of surprised me there. I didn't know they had a bathhouse on the ship.
It was so pretty. Guys, I encourage all of you to look at the rooms, specifically the Turkish bathroom. Stunning. The first class were housed on 5 of the decks and had elevators to help move around those levels. Also, for the first class came an opulent staircase that had a natural skylight dome over top of it. Going back to the movie, which is not a great reference, but it is, that is where Rose meets Jack at the end. It's on that staircase.
Yeah, I don't remember the movie that well.
Oh, it's when they're ghosts. Oh, spoiler alert. They die.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the Titanic by now, deal with it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Fantastic movie, though. Watch it.
Oh, God, it's so good. When the first class passengers boarded, stewards were there to show them directly to their rooms, and it was said that they were staying in a floating hotel. They had access to the dining saloon, restaurant, lounge, reading, writing, and smoking rooms, cafes, and palm courts. There were 39 private suites that each had bedrooms, wardrobes, and bathrooms in the rooms.
Those are basically your penthouses, I'm guessing?
Yes, yeah, like the top of the line suite. Under that, there were 350 cheaper, more standard cabins for the other first class people who were rich, but not that rich. A first class ticket cost 870 British pounds, or 4,350 US dollars.
And that was back then?
Yes. Today, that translates to 105,883 British pounds, or 133,132 US dollars. To be a first class passenger. Ain't that some shit?
Yeah, that's a couple to a few yearly salaries right there.
Yeah. For a 1-week trip from the UK to America. The second class were housed over 7 decks and had a second class stairway as well as elevators. They also had a smoking room, a library, and a dining room. Their living quarters were less opulent than the first class, obviously, but it is noted that the second class rooms on Titanic were comparable to first class rooms on other ships. So that is the level of, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's how much they elevated the game, basically.
Yes.
They put so much effort into their first class, both tiers of it, that their second class was as good as everyone else's first class.
Exactly, yeah. A second class ticket costs 12 British pounds or 60 USD, which translates to 1,460 British pounds or 1,834 USD.
Dude, that to me is not bad. A week trip?
Yes. Third class took a pretty substantial dip in terms of fanciness, though it was still pretty decent for them. Third class cabins were individual closed cabins rather than dormitory styled rooms.
Which is what the movie shows.
Mm-hmm.
Down in the third class, it's like 2 bunks to a little room.
Yeah, and that's kind of the vibe. It is also noted that even though they were closed cabins, it was still likely that they were sharing a room with a stranger. So
it probably was like that. You open the door, immediately to your left is a bunk bed, immediately to your right is a bunk bed, and you got a couple homies in there. You all sharing a room.
Yeah. They had a smoking room, a dining room, and a meeting room, which is where like all the parties happened. Thinking back to them dancing in the basement?
Mm-hmm.
In the meeting room. The furniture was solid wood and described as very comfortable because White Star wanted even the lowly third class to enjoy a good voyage before starting their new lives. A third class ticket cost 7 British pounds or 35 USD, which today translates to about 852 British pounds or 1,071 USD.
I'd spring for a little extra and go second class.
I agree, but you know, not everybody has an extra $800-ish lying around. Now, with all the fun stuff out of the way, let's set sail on this tragedy, yeah?
Let's go.
April 10th, 1912, Titanic set sail on her maiden voyage. She left Southampton, England, then traveled to Cherbourg, France, Queenstown, Ireland, then off to the open ocean. Almost immediately, there were some problems, though. The Titanic almost collided with another ship, the SS New York, before they even reached France. Like, before they even made it to their second stop, there was almost a collision.
It's like, well, they're like driving the biggest Mack truck ever created.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the turn radius isn't that great.
Well, it was something like the New York.
Spoiler to to what's about to happen, right? Like
Yeah.
The turning is not that great.
Yeah. What happened was the SS New York got kind of like sucked in towards the Titanic.
Oh, like, yeah, they had such a wake that it was like sucking them in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Luckily, though, disaster was avoided. Next problem, a fire started in coal bunker number 6. This fire was not extinguished for 4 days.
Damn.
And the whole time, passengers were unaware of this, but it was burning.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Now,
4 days. We got a fire downstairs. Yeah, they'll figure it out.
so this fire may or may not have actually been a contributing factor into this disaster. The fire may have led to some metal warping or weakening near the spot that the iceberg happened to strike the ship. This is not confirmed, but it is speculated.
I would venture to say that the iceberg did not strike the ship, but the ship struck the iceberg. Iceberg
Okay.
wasn't doing anything.
You're right. I apologize to the iceberg. The other problem with this coal fire is that there was only so much coal on board, and this fire presumably ate up a good chunk of it.
That's a
So,
problem.
yeah. Another assumption is that maybe the Titanic didn't slow down even after warnings of icebergs was because keeping the coal burning consistently was more efficient than stopping and then restarting. So, you know, some quick little theories.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about the fire potentially damaging the hull in any way.
The logic behind it is pretty sound in my opinion.
Yeah, you heat up metal, it flexes and warps.
Mhm.
That happens.
Yep, and if it weakened and the ship struck the iceberg in that exact area, I mean, it makes sense that it was probably a bit more susceptible to being punctured. Back to the voyage, though. The first few days were pretty uneventful. On Sunday, April 14th, the day the fire goes out, the first warning of ice ahead came to the Titanic. It read, quote, Greek steamer Athenae reports passing icebergs and large quantities of field ice today. Wish you and Titanic all success, Commander. End quote.
Okay, so you know what's coming.
Mm-hmm. Captain of the ship Edward Smith and managing director of White Star, Joseph Ismay, both read this report. So both of them are aware of what is coming. They did alter course a little bit south, but, didn't matter. More and more warnings came in throughout the day. At 10:15, another ship, which was about 4 hours ahead of the Titanic, the Carpathia, actually stopped sailing for the night because of the ice in the water. And a few hours later, another ship, the Californian, had to steer around a large iceberg.
Okay. There's lots of ice affecting a lot of travel.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about all this other stuff. These other vessels were laying
warnings.
All these warnings, yeah.
Yeah.
Letting them know what was coming.
Warnings were continually sent to the Titanic, and multiple people were aware of this. Wireless operators, the captain, other officers on board, they were all very aware of what is out there. The wireless system that was used to receive messages had been down for most of the day, so when it was turned back on, there was a backlog of passenger messages to get through. The wireless operator from the Californian managed to get a warning through to the Titanic about the ice, and the senior wireless operator aboard Titanic responded with, "Shut up, I am working Cape Race."
What is Cape Race?
No idea, but he was apparently quite busy with it.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, told another ship to shut up.
Yeah, was that the exact quote?
The exact quote, it kind of varies from source to source. Like some said, shut up, I am busy, I am working Cape Race. Another just said, shut up, I'm busy, I'm working Cape Race. But all very much the same vibe. He's telling the Californian to shut up. He's too busy to listen to this ice warning.
People back in the day loved telling people to shut up.
My God, Nellie Bly last week.
Yeah, asylums. I wanted to say stenographer. It's not stenographer.
Wireless operators.
What is a stenographer? That's somebody who takes notes in court, right?
I believe so. Oh my God, I don't know.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, it is. You're good. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, shut up, I'm working Cape Race. The Californian waited and listened for a little bit longer for any further messages, but eventually he turned off the radio.
Yeah, Titanic didn't want to talk to him. He's out.
Yeah, well, fuck you. You told me to shut up. I'll do that. Don't be rude. 11:40 and the Titanic is cruising, moving at about 22.5 knots.
Which is how fast?
God damn it.
I don't know nautical stuff.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that.
Jamie's had to look up so many things. Stenographer. Now she needs to know what knots are. She didn't know what Cape Race was. I'm asking all the right questions.
So one speed is equal to about 1 mile per hour?
1 knot? You said one speed.
Yeah, 1 speed. So 22.5 knots is about 25.9 miles per hour, which for my European friends,
For the rest of the world.
for literally the entire rest of the world outside of us, 22.5 knots is about 41.67 kilometers per hour. So going at like a decent speed, you're in a neighborhood.
Cruising.
Yeah, just cruising. Frederick Fleet suddenly shouts out from his watch. He grabbed the cord for the alarm bell on the bridge and pulled it 3 times.
Womp, womp, womp. That's my best alarm.
Sound effects provided by Leo. Sixth Officer James Moody asks, quote, "What do you see?" Dreaded words were said back. Quote, "Iceberg, right ahead." Orders were given to, quote, "Stop and go full speed astern and put the helm over hard to starboard," end quote. All watertight doors were closed, and then they waited. 37 seconds later, the ship began to swing portside, then it hit.
I'm doing all the sound effects today. Probably more metally, right? It was like a whale. All right, anyway.
Okay. We're sinking. Water was in 5 of the compartments. This was a guaranteed sinking now. With the 5 filled, Thomas Andrews, a man who had done daily inspections of the ship, estimated that the Titanic had an hour to an hour and a half before she was taken into the depths.
Now, I do know that they are not far away from land when this happens.
Depends on what you consider far away. They were about 1,430 miles. Or
No, there was a closer land. Google that. Google how close was the Titanic to land.
375 miles.
See?
From Newfoundland, Canada.
Boom. Better to be on a beach.
Yeah, well, it's always better to be on a beach. But yeah, they were about 600 kilometers or 375 miles off the coast of Newfoundland. Okay. He estimated that there was a 300-foot gash in the ship.
Which is like
300 feet or 91.4 meters. Which he was right about that. But the ship almost kind of like skidded along the iceberg. So it punctured every few feet. Does that make sense? Kind of like skipping a stone on water. In total, the actual size of the holes and the damage done to Titanic was only about 12 square feet worth of damage. Or 1.1 square meters.
I mean, 12 square feet's a big fucking hole. A bunch of little holes, but still 12 square feet though, submerged, that's a lot of area on a boat.
So the damage was only about the size of a doorway in total, which...
That's a big fucking hole.
That is a big hole, but you consider the size of the Titanic. That would be nothing on a ship like that if the watertight compartments...
Well, if it was in just one of the water, or, you know, quote unquote watertight compartments.
Yeah.
If that hole is in just one section, it honestly might not have been as bad or sunk as fast.
Exactly. And the compartments filling up. You know, I heard somewhere, so don't necessarily quote me on this, but I heard somewhere that it would have been better for the Titanic to hit the iceberg directly rather than try to turn to miss it, because by their turning, it exposed damage
They
to...
exposed the weaker side.
And it was able to hit more compartments rather than just hitting it head on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I wonder how much damage... I don't know, would the front of the Titanic work like an icebreaker, or would it work just crumple? Is it like a car running into a wall? Because if so, that bitch is gonna crumple.
Yeah, well, we won't know, I suppose, but 2 big problems were occurring at this time that resulted in the large death toll. One is that the people aboard believed the ship to be unsinkable, so no one moved with any sort of pep in their step.
And they didn't have enough lifeboats for all of the crew that they had, because they didn't think this bitch was gonna sink. And it would have taken up too much room, I think, was the thing. Too much of the room up on the deck or something, so they opted to take less lifeboats. They only had lifeboats for like half the crew, right?
Ding,
or
ding.
half the people.
Ding, ding, ding. Just about half, honestly. The lifeboats in total could fit about 1,178 people, and there were 2,201 people aboard.
Good job planning that one, boys.
Mm-hmm. At 12:15 a.m., the first call of distress was sent out. The Californian was only estimated to be about 10 miles away from the sinking ship, but the person who at that time was in charge of listening to the radio wasn't fully fluent on the machine, so they didn't understand the full message or the gravity of the situation.
Lost in translation.
Uh-huh. Luckily, the Carpathia heard and understood the message, but unluckily, they were about 58 miles away, and they would be, spoiler alert, too late to save everybody. But just a little fun fact here, Titanic actually sent out the very first SOS message. As in, like, literally
Save our
SOS.
ship, yeah.
Save our souls.
Oh, save our souls is what it was.
Mm-hmm. They were the first to ever use that message. Now, the lifeboats were on both sides of the ship, and 2 men were in charge of loading everyone onto them. A man named Lightoller was on the port side, loading only women and children. He was extremely strict about this and would not allow any men into these boats. Murdoch, on the other side of the boat, was allowing everyone into the boats as long as there was room. Women and children first became a thing after another ship, the HMS Birkenhead, sank back in 1852. And that had just become kind of standard practice.
I thought it was just standard practice. I thought chivalry dictated that we let the women and children out because, women and children can
Repopulate.
create. Yeah, they can create. Not that men can't create, but, there's other men.
Yeah.
There's other men. Mm-hmm. Every woman you save is another life that could be created.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks.
Oh.
Sucks being a guy sometimes.
12:20 a.m., 40 minutes after the initial impact, the first and second class passengers were all being loaded into the lifeboats.
Nice sneaky S there.
Were all being loaded into the lifeboats, but the third class passengers were forced to wait in their part of the ship until about 12:30 a.m. Lightoller told some other crew members to go and get the third class passengers, but the doors to allow them up were not opened, and the crew members never came back. So
everyone was locked downstairs. That's a real thing, because that was in the movie.
Well, we don't know what happened to those crew members. Around this...
They ran over to Murdoch's side and fucking jumped in a boat.
Yeah.
That was his name, right? Murdoch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Around this time, Captain Smith ordered that distress flares were to be set off every 5 or 6 minutes so that, ideally, the Carpathia or any nearby ships would see them. Remember, it's the middle of the night in the ocean. It is fucking dark.
Mm-hmm.
So those flares would be seen, ideally, for quite a few miles away. The last rocket was fired at 1:40 a.m. These rockets could actually be seen up to 20 miles away when they exploded, and the Californian was in that radius. The captain of the Californian saw them, but assumed they were company rockets being used to identify themselves to other ships. So they did nothing.
Oof.
The Californian really dropped the ball here.
Yeah, they really goofed it because the guy running the machine for them to talk to didn't know how to use that. And then the captain just thinks they're sending up, hey, we're over here. Just so you guys know, we're over here. Nothing's wrong. We're just over here. Just so you guys know, don't come over here. We're over here.
Don't worry about us.
Yeah. We basically sending off fireworks over here. All right. We just want you guys to know that we here and we moving.
We just want you guys to know we're having a party. Yeah. We are partying at midnight. The lifeboats are slowly being filled, or more accurately, half filled. This is something that I did not know the extent of. Boat number 7 was the first to be lowered and only contained 28 people in it. It was not even half full. Unfortunately,
not only can these only hold half of the people on board, but they're not even filling them.
Yeah, overfill them.
Yeah, that's what I thought the issue would be, is trying to keep people off of these fucking things.
Well, that was an issue, but they were still being lowered. Lowered without it. Okay. Unfortunately, most of the lifeboats were dropped only half full, probably at least on Lightollers' side. Only women and children being allowed. You know, I'm sure that played in part of why they were being lowered so preemptively, you know? Actually, to go with that, Lightoller only allowed one man into any of the boats he loaded. There was actually one boat, lifeboat number 1, that went down with only 12 people on it. These lifeboats could hold, I believe, up to 65 people.
Epic.
12 people in that one. One of them was a man named Sir Cosmo Duff Gordon, and it is alleged that even though this boat could have carried more people, Sir Dickbag bribed the crew member aboard to ignore them and to sail away from the sinking ship.
Captain saved my skin.
Fucking ass bag.
Mm-hmm. What good's fucking money when you're on a sinking ship? You fucking dumbass.
And also, what inconvenience would that be to you? What, you might have to touch knees with somebody from second or third class?
Gross.
Oh, grow the fuck up.
That's disgusting.
Grow up.
If you put any more children on here, I swear to God.
I will throw you overboard.
I'd bribe somebody not to hear kids screaming and crying all day.
Well, I would too, but we are in the middle of a disaster. I can deal with a fucking kid.
If I had the money.
Oh my God. As the night continued on, we did see more and more people being loaded into the lifeboats, luckily. Not all of them, but at 1:30 a.m., boat number 12 went down with 30, and boat number 9 went down with 56.
Oh, getting closer to full.
At 1:35, lifeboat number 11 went down with 70 people.
Little too many.
1:40 a.m., lifeboats 13 and 15 were launched with 65 people each. 1:45 a.m., a message is sent to the Carpathia saying, quote, "Come as quickly as possible, old man. Engine room is filling up to the boilers." End quote. By 2 a.m., all but one of the lifeboats had been launched. Over half of them went down without actually being full. Just after 2 a.m., Captain Smith went to the wireless room and told the 2 operators in there, quote, "Men, you have done your full duty. You can do no more. Abandon your cabin. Now it's every man for himself. You look out for yourselves. I release you. That's the way of it at this kind of time. Every man for himself." End quote. I feel like crying. That's really...
It's pretty sad. I mean,
That's heavy.
you know what's coming.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's a pleasure serving with you, but it's over now.
Go try and save yourself.
Yeah. Are you getting into like people, like notable stories and stuff? Because there's a couple things.
We will, yes.
Okay. Well, let me know when that's happening.
Okay. 2:05 a.m., the last boat was launched. Armed crew members actually formed a ring around the front of the boat to make sure only legitimate passengers got on. Not sure if that means like they were trying to keep crew members off of it, maybe, but that's what it said.
Okay.
2:10 a.m., the water had almost reached the top of the ship. The glass dome over the first class staircase exploded. This is when Captain Smith was last seen. 2:15 a.m.
I got goosebumps.
2:15 a.m., the band finishes their last song. 2:20 a.m., the lights go out, and the ship is almost sticking straight up out of the water. It stays like that for a few terrifying seconds, then she's gone.
I thought it snapped.
It did. You are right.
I'm just, there's questions I have, but I don't want to derail your story.
Well, ask them now because we're going to get into the rescue, but what do you got?
So you didn't have any other stories for while the ship was sinking?
We kind of get into some of the stories when we get into notable passengers.
Well, I'll tell you off the record right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the husband and wife.
Yes.
Which is a good story.
Yep.
That's in there.
Mm-hmm.
The lady who describes hitting the propeller, is that in there?
Nope, that was the Britannic.
Mm-hmm.
Which, fuck it, maybe I'll do the Britannic next week. That would be fun, actually. I'm going to do that.
I swear there's an insurance claim myth there. You should look into that.
Okay.
And the band.
Yes, I talk about the band.
You talk. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Then I'm good.
Okay. So she's under the water. It is now dark, quiet, and fucking cold. The Carpathia was coming at full speed toward the site, though, luckily. Captain Arthur Henry Rostron told the chief engineer, quote, "Call another watch of stokers and make all possible speed to the Titanic as she is in trouble," end quote.
Goosebumps again.
I'm on and off trying not to cry while saying some of these things. Over 100 years ago, but it's just...
It's terrifying. It's
Yeah.
It's a tragedy. I couldn't imagine being in that situation. It's to hear like some of the stories that I'm sure you're gonna get into.
Mm-hmm.
There's some notable stories and I believe quotes. Like I'm thinking like the composer of the band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is some like real legitimate sorrow
Mm-hmm.
and bravery in these final moments of these people that like really gets in my feels.
Yeah.
That band was brave as hell. I'm just gonna throw that spoiler out
I
there
might
now.
cry talking
the
about
the
them.
band is some of the bravest men that have probably ever existed.
Mm-hmm. Well, what gets me is like at this moment, right? It's dark. The ship is gone. The ship is gone. And now we are just a bunch of lifeboats floating at the will and mercy of the ocean. I'm sure there were people crying out in the dark, unable to see. Slowly, it just gets quieter and quieter as they sink below the surface. Like, it is just a horror show.
Yeah, you're freezing, you're tired, alone.
Scared. It is just... Okay.
All right, let's keep it rolling.
Okay. Carpathia got there about 3.5 hours after initially receiving the distress signal, though of course it was too late for so many people. They got there around 4:30 a.m., 2 hours after the ship had disappeared under the surface. At 5 a.m., the Californian got the news the Titanic had sunk and quickly joined the efforts to find survivors or retrieve bodies. 11:30 a.m., another ship, the Frankfurt, arrived to try and help, but was told there was nothing more that could be done. The German ship left the site. A Russian ship, the Burma, was en route to the crash site, but passed the Carpathia as the Carpathia was heading towards New York and received a message. Quote, "We met the SS Carpathia going at full speed to the west and exchanged flag signals with her. I asked if everybody was safe and whether we could help in any way. We were told to stand by. I ordered again the inquiry to be made, is there any use in our remaining to search further?" End quote. They were also told there was nothing else to be done. By April 15th, there had already been rumors of the disaster, so countless friends and families were desperate to see if any of their people had survived. April 16th, the Denver Post wrote an article titled, quote, "Relatives in agony of fear besiege the WSL offices," end quote. WSL being White Star Lines. Also, on the 16th, the LA Times front line said, "Men of worldwide prominence go down with ship after women and children are taken off in lifeboats. Only 675 people saved out of the 2,200 on board ill-fated vessel. Newest and greatest liner in world, built at cost of $10 million and embodying latest scientific principles, sinks as quickly as wooden fishing smack after collision with iceberg off coast of Newfoundland." Brutal to read if one of your friends or family was on that ship. Because at this point, the Carpathia hasn't made it to New York yet. They don't know who's alive.
Yeah. And they've only got about a 1 in 4 chance of being one of the living ones.
Mm-hmm. Not great.
About a quarter of the people made it off that boat.
Yep, not great odds. April 18th, 1912, 4 days after the sinking, 9:25 p.m., the Carpathia arrived in New York and over 10,000 people were there to see and greet the survivors.
That's sad, too, to think about.
Mm-hmm. To be there watching all those people coming off the ship and you're not seeing.
How many of those 10,000 had family members they were waiting for that didn't get there?
Mm-hmm. And that's how you find out, because they just don't get off the boat. And you know that their last moments were bad. Yeah. Okay. April 20th, the Mackay Bennett, which had left Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, with ice and 100 coffins and 40 embalmers, arrived at the site of the crash, or sinking, to see if there were any more remaining bodies. 51 bodies were found on the first day, and over the next 6 weeks, 328 more bodies were recovered. 128 were unrecognizable, and 119 were buried at sea.
So that still leaves half the people unaccounted for.
Well, the actual number, after everything was said and done, was out of 2,201 people on board, 710 people were saved, and 1,491 people died. Of the 109 children on board, 56 were saved and 53 were lost. Of the 425 women on board, 316 were saved and 109 were lost. Of the 1,667 men on board, 338 were saved. And 1,329 men were lost. That accounts for less than a third of the people aboard surviving.
That's pretty rough. Jamie's tearing up over here.
It's so fucking sad. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional in these episodes recently. Topsy had me going, now Titanic's got me. Okay. King George gave this statement in the aftermath. The Queen and I are horrified at the appalling disaster which has happened to the Titanic and at the terrible loss of life. We deeply sympathize with the bereaved relations and feel for them in their great sorrow with all our heart. May 2nd, 1912, an official report was put together into the sinking, like a meeting to get statements from witnesses and all that, and it lasted around 36 days.
Sounds like they were thorough with their investigation.
Yeah. The British Board of Trade was found to be negligent in not updating their rules and regulations relating to lifeboats, and the designers of the Titanic had failed in supervision of the plans and inspections regarding the ship. The rules under which the Titanic was designed had all been put in place in the 1880s. So you think about the jump in so many different things from the 1880s to the 1910s. The world was evolving so fast, and they never updated it. A U.S. inquiry was also launched, and at the end of it, Senator William Smith, who led the inquiry, essentially denounced the British Board of Trade for not requiring enough lifeboats, criticized Captain Smith for being reckless in an ice field, denounced Captain Lord of the Californian for not helping, and praised Captain Rostron of the Carpathia.
I agree with all that.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, that sounds spot on.
Yeah. Which, speaking of the Carpathia, the crew were awarded medals by the survivors. Crew members were also given bronze medals, officers received silver, and Captain Rostron was given a silver cup and a gold medal, which was awarded to him by Miss Unsinkable Molly Brown. Rostron was also knighted by King George and given the Congressional Gold Medal, which is the highest honor from the U.S. Congress, after he was a guest with President Taft at the White House.
Very cool. Who's Molly Brown?
Well, she's our little hometown hero here. Margaret, or as she went by Molly, Brown was not born in Colorado. She moved to Leadville around 18 and was deeply ingrained in the community, even working with the feminist movement out there. She married an extremely successful miner and had a family. She ended up on the Titanic after she was away in England and heard her son was sick. She was loaded into lifeboat number 6 during the sinking, and while it could have held 65 people, it only contained 21 women, 6 men, and a 12-year-old boy. She was a real one, though, and kept trying to go back for survivors, but was denied. Once on board the Carpathia, she gathered supplies like blankets and things like that for the people aboard, and donations totaling around $10,000 for some of the less wealthy and fortunate people who lived. Once back in New York, she stayed there and became president of the Survivors Committee and even helped to erect the Titanic Memorial in Washington, D.C.
Damn, how did I not know about her?
There's a Molly Brown house downtown Denver. I've toured it.
That's cool.
Yeah. While we're getting into some of the more famous passengers, let's go with one of the most well-known stories to come from the Titanic. Ida and Isidor Straus.
This is a couple that's really, really, really in love.
Man, it's beautiful. Isidor Straus was co-owner of the Macy's department store. Among the most wealthy on board, their love story is what they are remembered for now. Isidor was offered a spot on a lifeboat, but refused it to allow women and children to go aboard instead. Ida would stand by his side, saying, quote, "We have lived together many years. Where you go."
Don't cry.
Where you go, I go.
Yep. If that's not love, I don't know what it is.
They are depicted in the movie as an elderly couple laying side by side in bed together as the water rushes in. Not how it happened in real life, but...
Yeah, but could you imagine that? Like, he was fortunate enough to get a spot on a boat, but such a good man that he said, no, it belongs for women and children, not for me. And his wife loved him so much and knew that he was going down. She's like, I ain't leaving you now. I'm gonna get back on this sinking ship with you. It's beautiful. It really is.
Yeah. They would both die, and only Isidor's body was eventually recovered. Ida would not be laid to rest with him. Okay. The musicians. The musicians.
Is a good one too.
The famous band who played until the very end. 8 men from second class very famously got their instruments out and began to play as the evacuation started. G. Crins and J.L. Hume were on violin. R. Bracu and J.W. Woodward were on cello. W.2 Braley and P.C. Taylor on piano. J.F.C. Clark on bass, and leading the band was W. Hartley. These 8 men played until literally the very last moment. One passenger was even quoted as saying, quote, "Many brave things were done that night, but none were more brave than those done by men playing minute after minute as the ship settled quietly lower and lower in the sea." End quote.
Yeah, and that is just the bravest thing ever. In a situation where you can't really do anything, these men sat there and did their best to soothe people in the final moments, which is just beautiful and brave.
And it worked. It worked. A lot of the survivors talk about this band and how the music did give them a small sense of comfort. As the ship was sinking, the leader of the band, what would you call that?
The composer?
The bandmaster.
Okay.
The bandmaster, Wallace Hartley, said, quote, "Gentlemen, it has been a privilege playing with you tonight." End quote. All 8 men would die.
And they're heroes, really.
Which again,
That makes me almost want to cry. I've had tears well up a couple times, but the band on this ship are some of the bravest men. It's just, I hope that if I'm ever put in a situation where all hope is lost, that I can be that brave in the face of what's coming.
Impending death.
Yeah, those men were heroes. In my mind, they are. We've heard that a lot of people say that they really helped them and everything, but like that is just unbelievable bravery to me.
The calm acceptance. Like, gentlemen, it's been a privilege playing with you tonight. Oh, we're all gonna die, and you're being so sweet.
Classy move.
Okay.
Jamie's now wiping her tears away.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of sad quotes tonight. I probably shouldn't have added these quotes. Even while I was writing this up, I was like, hope I don't cry saying it out loud. Idiot. The last passenger that we are going to talk about is John Jacob Astor IV. He was the richest passenger aboard. He was worth around $87 million at the time, the current day equivalent of $2.9 billion. The Astor family was, and still is, a prominent English and American family dating back to the early 1700s. John IV was on the Titanic with his pregnant wife, Madeline, and their beloved Airedale terrier named Kitty.
Airedales are gorgeous.
Yeah. Madeline was put on lifeboat number 4 with her nurse and her maid, and she would survive. Unfortunately, the same could not be said for John, his valet, and their beloved Kitty.
Do we know what happened to them?
They drowned.
I just didn't know if there's more to his story, like if we knew what happened to him before he inevitably died.
No, not really.
Like, did he sit in the corner and let all the children that didn't get out pet his dog until the place sunk? I don't know.
No, he doesn't have a sweet story.
Okay.
For the final part of this story, we are going to discuss the discovery of this baddie. In 1981, a man named Jack Grimm planned 2 different expeditions to try and find the wreckage of the Titanic, but both failed. 1983, he tried again and failed again. 1984, the US Navy agreed to fund a 3-week test for a remote-controlled deep-sea vessel to try and scan the ocean bottom. They agreed to do this on the condition that the remote vessel would also be used to locate 2 lost submarines, the USS Scorpion and the USS Thresher. The subs were found, but not the Titanic. August 24th, 1985, a man named Dr. Ballard had 12 days to find the wreck site. Kind of like a funded expedition, right? You only have this certain amount of time. After frustration, failure, and soul-crushing boredom for 11 days, on September 1st, 1985, something odd appeared on the video monitors. Man-made objects, something like a boiler, were found. Soon after, they saw the main hull of the ship. 13,000 feet, or 3.96 kilometers beneath the surface, humans were finally laying their eyes on the Titanic again. It wasn't until a year-ish later, on July 13th of 1986, that Dr. Ballard would return to the wreck. This time, they went in with 3 different vessels. Alvin, which was a deep diving submersible that could actually take a small crew down there. Jason Jr., or JJ, was an ROV, a remote operated vehicle, that could actually go inside the wreckage. And Angus, which stands for Acoustically Navigated Geological Underwater Survey, would be used to take photos. So 3 different vessels, 3 different purposes, all are going to the site. Days 1 and 2 gave us photographs of the ship and the knowledge that the bow was buried in about 60 feet of mud.
Something that heavy going down to the bottom, I'd imagine it sunk into the ground a little.
Yeah, kicked up a little bit of dirt down there. Day 3, JJ went in and saw the grand first-class stairway and actually discovered that a chandelier was still intact. Day 4, they saw Captain Smith's cabin, which had collapsed, and the gym where pieces of equipment are actually still intact. Day 5, coal, wrought iron benches, baths, and plates were found along with another boiler and a safe, a brass-handled safe, which they tried to open but couldn't, which is goofy. Just bring it up. Don't try and open it at the bottom of the ocean.
I know, right?
Day 6, the stern section was found 1,970 feet, or about 600 meters from the bow, and it was discovered to be pretty fucking badly damaged. Like, she got beat up on the way down. Before leaving, Dr. Ballard placed a memorial plaque on the stern for everybody who lost their lives. Since then, many artifacts have been recovered from the wreck. This has actually caused a bit of controversy because some people believe it's kind of like a mass grave. You know, leave it, don't take stuff from it. But I mean, shipwrecks throughout all time have been looted. It's just this one feels a bit more recent, you know?
We've always plundered what's at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, once it gets down there, it's a free-for-all, I guess.
If we can take something from the ocean, we're going to do it. Oil, ships,
booty.
Yeah, we're doing it.
It's also been noted how quickly the ship is deteriorating, which is odd because it shouldn't be. It's cold, which preserves. It's at the bottom of the ocean, so it's not like getting any sun damage, and you know, there's just the conditions in which the ship lay should lead to it being more preserved.
I know that things do stay pretty well preserved underwater, but at the same time, doesn't salt water erode metal?
Well, excellent point. Rusticles, which are exactly like what they sound like, icicle formations of rust, were taken from the site and were brought back up to the surface to be analyzed. So it is rusting, but even still, it's going faster than it should be. The ship would eventually degrade, but not at the rate at which it is.
Okay.
In 2010, scientists led by Henrietta Mann from Dalhousie University isolated one species of bacteria that is causing the ship to decay so quickly and actually named it Halomonas titanicae. So they named it after the Titanic. Like, there is just a bacteria down there that is eating the ship. It is suspected that the ship will completely collapse by about 2050, and some parts will be lost forever, just like completely disintegrate. Other parts, though, like the bronze propellers, the porcelain, things of like that nature, will last for, I mean, possibly even centuries from now.
Well, I thought porcelain in salt water was preserved perfectly.
Yeah, and the propellers on the Titanic were bronze.
Which is wild, because I think porcelain and like ivory, they're porous. They'd absorb that, and but pirate ships, we've talked about pirate ships that plates looked exactly how they were when they first went down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are preserved perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a porcelanologist. I don't know exactly how it reacts in like salt water versus fresh water versus snow water. I don't know all the ins and outs, but I can tell you that there was a fuckload of plates retrieved from the Titanic. Like dining plates. So,
well, even from that shipwreck that we covered before,
San Jose.
Wasn't there a bunch of plates that were recovered from that one? Yeah.
Yep. But there is a prevalent online rumor that the Titanic itself will be completely gone by 2050, which it was originally, they were saying 2037, the ship will be completely gone. And that's not necessarily true. It's just that it will collapse in on itself. So realistically, in our lifetimes, we will probably see the Titanic
collapse.
Yes, being essentially gone. But Many parts of it will still be there, and obviously many artifacts will still be there, but the ship as it looks now will not be a thing. Titanic recently made headlines again when a submersible went missing on its way down to tour the Titanic.
Yeah, that bitch imploded.
Yes, it ended with the death of 5 people aboard. OceanGate led a doomed mission down there, and the whole thing was doomed from the beginning.
I heard they were controlling that thing with like a modified Xbox controller or something.
Yeah. Bad leadership, oversights on construction, and cutting corners led to the submersible imploding on June 18th, 2023. The world waited to see what had happened after contact was lost, but it was determined that the implosion happened faster than the human brain can even comprehend pain.
Yep, literally in the snap of a finger, you're gone.
Today, the world still remembers the Titanic. The last survivor didn't pass away until 2009. She was just 2 months old at the time of the sinking. The most famous shipwreck in the world holds a place in modern media, most famously the movie starring Leo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet.
He's not a real Leo.
Okay, Leonardo DiCaprio
That's right.
and Kate Winslet. Though there are countless other pieces of song, movie, shows, books, almost everything about the Titanic. So, thoughts, views, and opinions. This was a long one, but...
Well, first thought, view, and opinion is that Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't get the title Leo. I know he calls himself Leo. Everybody calls him Leo. He's Leonardo.
Okay.
The only Leonardo that's allowed to go by Leo is a Ninja Turtle.
I knew you were going there.
He's the coolest. I will give him a pass. He can be Leo.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, Leo elitist. Thoughts, views, and opinions on the Titanic.
I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. It was a great refresher. All of the things that I remembered, like some of my favorite stories with the composer and the couple, were included in it. I love those stories. They're just beautiful to me. And also learned a little bit about some of the other ships that are in the area that I didn't know. So
good.
Very cool. Got to learn some new stuff. Got a great refresher. And you did beautiful on all the things that I knew as well. Like, it was very well done. I enjoyed this episode.
Well, thank you very much. I hope everybody learned at least one new thing. I mean, I learned while going through this and putting this all together. This was very fun in the most fun I can have while crying intermittently. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was a fun one for me.
Well, I enjoyed it.
I guess we'll wrap it up here then, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
With that, you guys can follow us on Instagram or send us an email, both of which are linked in the show description below.
A couple ways you can support the show are visiting our website and visiting our store on there, where you can purchase some merch. All proceeds go to helping the show pay for itself. And then for non-monetary support, just sharing the show or interacting with either comments, ratings. All engagement is good and helps the algorithm push the show. So we appreciate anything you guys can do. If you've been around for more than a couple episodes and you ain't hit a like or shared or done anything, step up. You've been around for a minute. We're friends. You better do the work.
Yeah, help your friends out. Cause like truly, you guys, I don't know, we all are friends. We love you. We love you guys.
I mean, we've got some recent fans out in Germany, which are pretty cool.
Hi.
We've been following Ireland. We got a couple different...
Dublin.
A couple different cities out there. We
Yep.
got a couple of them, but a couple in Ireland. Netherlands been around for a minute. Australia's been around for a minute. All over the U.S. and Canada, we've had quite a few regulars. So we don't know who you are, but we thank you for showing up every week. We really do.
Thank you so much. Like, truly, madly, deeply. That's enough fangirling over our friends. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We will see you next week for another episode of the Darkives.
Watch out for icebergs. See you next week.
Goodbye.
Hey, you almost got me to cry like 3 times in that episode.
Yeah, I almost did cry 3 times and cried once.
You did cry. I saw you wipe tears away.
No.
I got close. The band.
Mm-hmm. Should I do the Britannic next week?
I never say we're gonna do something unless we're gonna do it.
I think we're gonna do it.
Well, it might be in a week or 2. This is like a 2-hour recording.
Yeah, I know. I told you this was gonna be a fucking long one.
We'll see how many parts this is. But for all you still hanging around, see you.